welcome to Templars Through the Line. This is Templars Responsible Business Podcast. My name is Dayo, Okusami. I'm a partner at the firm. I have another partner at the firm from our Ghana office, because that's where we are today. We're in the Templars Ghana office in Accra. Femi Asante. She's a partner at the firm, but much more. Much more. Femi is one of Ghana's most dynamic leaders who's worked as an attorney, which she started off as, but decided it wasn't exciting enough, or she just had so much more to give. She's also an entrepreneur and chief executive. Femi also runs the Fair Justice Initiative, which advocates for incarcerated populations. It's the reason why we're here today. The impact of her career has empowered over 1,000 Ghanaians and proven the deeper savvy of women in business who steer matriarchy from the fuel of a household to the engine of society. And, these are not just words, right? I have mentioned Femi started out as a lawyer. She became an entrepreneur. She's doing so much in the business, but yet impact sector. Corporate social responsibility for me, but more her, is not just talking about it, but being about it. So welcome, Femi. Thank you for spending time with us today.
Thank you, Dayo. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. So Femi, first of all, the Fair Justice Initiative. What is it? How did it start?
Fair Justice Initiative is really a prison advocacy organization, which is the CSR arm of TEMPLARS Ghana.
Okay.
So what we focus on is providing legal representation for marginalized, skills training, and also one of the things that has been on the forefront is mental health support for those who are incarcerated. We do have some out of prison initiatives that we have undertaken in the past, including trying to help people reassimilate into society, and also helping inmates' children as a way of breaking the cycle of incarceration, because people don't realize the impact it has on the family, and then to avoid there being a repetitive cycle of an absentee father or an absentee mother due to incarceration, we advocate for education of inmates' children.
What made you think of it started? And then, because a lot of people have a lot of great ideas, but it's the implementation that is the issue. So
I believe that I was born to do this.
Okay.
Yeah, because 12 years at the bar, came out of law school. I think in my class of about 300, I was probably the only one who wanted to do public interest and criminal defense.
Okay.
A lot of people were steering towards corporate. Which you like.
Yeah, guilty as charged.
So I take it back a bit. When I was in college in the US, I was obsessed with watching crime shows, etc. Trying to just understand how people get into all these issues and how to help. And so I applied to work for Barry Sheck's group, Innocence Project.
Okay.
Yes, I actually met him literally.
Oh, really? The Innocence Project?
Yeah, the Innocence Project.
Okay.
So I applied to work as an intern at the Innocence Project, and I didn't get the internship. When I met Barry Sheck years later, through FJI, when we were trying to see how we could learn from them, and I said to him that I applied and he didn't accept me, but I think he was very proud of what I've been able to achieve. But,
and I could also argue, without breaking that thought, maybe the fact that you didn't get that internship is what led you to setting up the FGI. You might have ended up working there and maybe not has as much as an impact.
Exactly.
I like to believe in this kind of, the universe kind of pushes you where you're supposed to be. But please go on.
And so when I moved back and I went to law school, and my interest was in criminal law, I finished, graduated. Did my pupillage, absolutely hated corporate.
Okay.
Signed up as an external solicitor for legal aid. So I worked for legal aid I was an external solicitor for years. And through that, and also being inspired by the Innocence Project, decided to start the Fair Justice Initiative.
Okay.
So initially it was just me going to the prisons, advocating for marginalized people. I did so many different cases, etc. And decided to formalize it. And then we hired more lawyers, And it was, I think, one of the biggest struggles of people recognizing how important this aspect of the law is. So for us, a percentage of what is earned from the corporate contributes to the fund for Fair Justice Initiative, because it's very hard to raise funding for prison work on this side.
Yes.
We've been grateful to have some sponsorship from GIZ, the Australian Head Commission, for the Millenary Project, for skills training.
Yes.
And then the last one being the mental health program.
Okay.
And we're currently about to do the paralegal program in collaboration with Templars and training the inmates. So I think Templars is the only law firm in Ghana who has taken a stand and pioneered giving back in that space, and I think that's very admirable.
Yeah, thank you for. I think it comes from what I would say the Nigerian office, where it's about don't just talk about CSR, be about it. Taking it back now, so you've gone within the prison, you are helping them with skill set learning, mental health support. They come out, you're giving them at least an opportunity, which is not widely given, of employment, which is very commendable. And then you mentioned something about the cycle, maybe breaking it generationally. How and what are you doing? What does that look like in how you implement and do this?
So we piloted a scholarship program where we funded the education of one inmate's child through university here at the KNUST, and she graduated first class in chemistry.
Wow. Okay.
Yes, very smart girl. And her father was facing a 60-year sentence.
Her father is still in prison.
Her father is still in prison.
And you sponsored her to go to the university.
And you could see in her father a new lease on life, despite facing 60 years.
Yeah.
She completed, and we said, what's next? So she had great potential, applied to several schools. She actually got accepted into
Imperial College, London. Whoa.
Yes.
So she's smarter than me.
She's really smart.
Yeah.
And so she ended up going to school in Chicago with a year scholarship, and then we paid the balance for what she had to do. She graduated, and now she works with one of the very good firms. So that breaks the cycle.
Yes.
Because for her father now, it's already bad enough that he's in prison, but for him to see his daughter excel makes it even easier for him to be able to do the time.
Yeah.
You know,
especially from mental health.
From mental health.
But also for the child as well.
Also for her.
Knowing that she's not limited by to be honest, the mistakes her father made.
Yes.
So you've given both the father and the daughter a second chance as well.
So what we are trying to initiate is the scholarship scheme on a larger scale.
Yes. Where
it's the inmates who apply for the scholarship. Which also helps them to have a parent involvement with their children. Okay. Because it'll be, you have to apply for the scholarship, we'll interview you, we'll do some due diligence on the school and the child, and then we'll make sure that you're able to attend parent-teacher from prison, whether it's coordinating like phone calls with the teacher at set times to follow through, so that the children also know that their parents are also looking out for them to do well.
Yes, so because we're both parents. You want to do things for your kids, and kids want their parents doing something for them, for within their means or in any way. So I think that's a very commendable conjunction, because you could just sweep in and be the superhero, but why not help the parents at least feel like they're contributing to the betterment of their child? That's all we want as parents for our kids, isn't it? Beyond just the impact you give to the prisoners while in the prison, you sort of look after them beyond that. Tell us what that looks like. I know, but tell the audience.
So people don't like to give former inmates a second chance, which understandably out of fear, not sure whether they've changed or whether they would actually be able to do that. So because we provide skills training whilst they're incarcerated, for example, learning how to make sanitizers or washing up liquids or sewing, etc. They're different courses. We actually had the millinery course.
Okay.
That
Hat making.
they made fascinators.
Yeah.
They were taught by two of Ghana's top milliners, Velma and Boatema.
Yeah.
And so when they come out, they don't know how to navigate life. Imagine being institutionalized for 16, 20 odd years, and you come out, the iPhone has changed, internet, you just didn't even know these things existed. So we try to create some sort of work for them. So one of the inmates that we hired in one of my businesses, she was 17 years old, and she was involved in a robbery through her boyfriend, and she was incarcerated. At the time that we took up the case, she was 24, but she was so small, and the law requires that she would have been treated as a juvenile.
Yes.
Right. So we went through the whole process of going to court, getting a bone test to confirm her age, because she didn't even have her birth certificate. But we were able to trace what school she went to, and the headmaster remembered her, and that's what we used. So post incarceration, and she's out, it's like what to do. So we hired her.
In one of your businesses, you gave her a job.
Yeah, she was very eager to learn, very eager to work. But I noticed that by 4 o'clock, she would start to wind down. Because on the yard, they start to wind down about 4 o'clock and get locked up at about 5-ish.
Okay.
And so she wasn't able to be productive after that.
Right.
And that's what showed me that even though as much as people want their freedom, when they have it, they sometimes don't even know what to do with it or how to navigate it. Okay. And that's why the halfway house for us is very important. Okay. Which teaches them how the day-to-day post-incarceration
to reacclimatize to society, isn't it?
Society. Yeah. And also in providing work for them, people really want to hire. So in creating work, things like beach cleaning. Yeah. Those ones are easy to do. Yeah. They start getting used to getting a pay slip and knowing they have to report for work or who they're supervising.
And a different type of routine.
And a different type of routine, really. So I think the halfway house is one of our big things, big projects that we are hoping that will materialize in 2024.
Oh, that's great. So you are doing the halfway house, which is great, helps them reacclimatize into society. Yes. Your businesses are also offering employment to some of them as well, both within the business, but also I caught that you say beach cleaning, because what you're doing is great in that you are bearing the cost of keeping a certain amount of beachfront in Ghana clean, and you're putting them on your payroll. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. No. So that's good. So you're even giving back environmentally as well. That's commendable.
I don't believe in making a profit without a purpose.
Okay.
I think
I like that. Could you say that again?
I don't believe in making a profit without a purpose. Okay. So even when we employ, or even when the lawyers, the team goes out to the prisons, it's not just showing up. Yeah. It's more than that. The impact it has on their lives, or even the assurance that they know that we'll show up in court on time is very important. It's priceless. Yeah. Or knowing that we'll walk you through the process, or we'll mock examination in chief. Like, we'll go through the whole process, and they see how much time we dedicate to it. Yeah. So in doing what we do, it's not just a CSR. Like at TEMPLARS, we just don't talk about it, we're about it. So we actually put in the work. So the same energy we'll put into an M&A, the same energy we put into the CSR. Into the CSR, yes. Yeah.
Okay, no, that's great. I like that, and I might steal it from you. No profit without a purpose. No. Yeah. So we're looking ahead for the FGI now. So you started this great pilot project. It's worked out smashingly well. What would you like to see the FGI doing in 2024 and beyond? What do you have planned? What would you like to see? Where and how this comes across some foundation that is looking to see the practical impact of this intermediation that you're doing? What have you planned? What would you like to see in the 2024 and beyond?
So in 2024, we have a prison farm.
Okay.
At the prison female section, where the female inmates were tutored on agriculture. Okay. And we're seeing get some yields from tomatoes, peppers, etc. So the plan is to make the program sustainable. Right. To be able to sell part of it and part of it goes to the prison to supplement their food.
Okay.
So we're hoping to be able to expand the farm.
Okay.
Our mental health program was very successful because at some point we realized that it's the foundation to be able to give them the skills necessary to be able to, when they come out, to be able to utilize it. So we're not able to initiate a program when you have a lot of people in the yard who are depressed, they're sad, don't feel any sense of hope. So that's not the basis before we start any program.
Okay.
As we've run it successive times, we've moved into a different system where we're trying to train ambassadors within the prison. Usually those who have lengthier sentences because they are there for longer to be able to identify and teach the coping skills that they learned from the mental health classes. And then those who have to be recommended for one-on-one will be sent to them. So funding for the mental health is very critical for us for 2024. We're also looking forward to launching our scholarship program in conjunction with one of our recipients, pilots at Rosemary, and she's very keen on doing that and
giving
speaking
back.
about
That's
it.
Great. That's great.
So we're excitedly looking to the future for 2024, and then to continue to represent them in court, and also the paralegal training, because they spend so much time with each other.
Yes.
And sometimes lack of information. It's almost like when they file their appeals from the prison, it's almost a template.
Yeah.
And it's not helpful, because obviously they're not lawyers. But at least to give them some basic skills that they would know to be able to teach, or even to start to draft or something, and then overseen by a lawyer, as opposed to just filing it from what we call the prison lawyers.
Yeah, of course. Okay. And I mean, I think also seeing the success of how and what you've done has also enabled the management at Templars also to say, look, this is something that we need to continue to support, put more in, but clearly external support for these laudable projects that you're doing would be key in actually having the kind of impact that we'd like to see beyond that. So, I mean, first of all, I just want to personally thank you for coming up with that idea, seeing it through, because I'm a commercial lawyer. I don't think I could do that. And everybody always goes for the non-altruistic. So for someone like you, smart as you, exposed, you've lived all over the world, to come back to Ghana and say, this is how I'm going to give back, but run with it. I personally want to thank you for it. It's, if we had more people like you, the world would be a much, much better place. The world is too full of lawyers who do corporate work, so it is to be commended. Ladies and gentlemen, we have, with thanks, Femi Asante, lead of the FGI, the Fair Justice Initiative. She's also a partner at Templars, but clearly she does more exciting, impactful stuff on the social side, and it's something we're very proud of. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Dayo.